we had talked about epithelial tissue, we had talked about the connective tissue. Now we are going to take a quick revision and we are going to study the muscular tissue and nervous tissue, the next two types of tissues. So let's take a quick revision of the two types of tissues that we studied on whiteboard, how they would look like, a better representation than that I made. See, we had four types of epithelial tissue for simple understanding. One was the cube-like cells placed on the basement membrane, and that was simple cuboidal for the excretory and absorptive purposes. Then we had the simple squamous tissue where there were flattened cells for exchange, basically the thin sheet like thin film like arrangement on the epithelial tissue basement membrane. We had the cells and these were meant for exchanges. Then we have simple columnar, column shaped cells, alright. They were cylindrical cells, they could be ciliated or they could be non-ciliated, the columnar cells which were present in the digestive tract. And then we had the stratified squamous epithelium. The cells were squamous only, but there were many layers. They could be keratinized or non-keratinized, and that was stratified squamous, which is present in your skin. Now let us recall what we studied in connective tissue. In connective tissue, we had studied that there was loose connective tissue that was present under the skin, and that particular tissue was the areolar tissue. Then we had the fat droplets, adipose tissue that was present in the form of fats. You see this part, this yellowish part, these are the fat droplets which are present beneath your skin. Beneath your skin there would be loose connective tissue, that is areolar. Then under that you are going to find this yellow part, that is the adipose tissue. Then this is the arm that has been shown, that how the arrangement of connective tissue is there. See, this outer lining is the epithelial tissue. Inside it you are going to find the areolar tissue. You find the adipose tissue present in the form of fat. Then you find the fibrous connective tissue that is present in the form of tendon, okay, and otherwise there is ligament as well. The tendon is joining bone to the muscle, while bone to bone is joined by the ligament. Bone is also a connective tissue that you see in this arm. At the end of the bone there is cartilage that is present, that is also the connective tissue. See the articulation point, that is the cartilage which is present. Then we have the blood supply which is present over here, that is the blood is also the connective tissue. This is all we have to study about the connective tissue, and we have already studied about it. This is just a simple representation. Now from this figure itself, what you see, this reddish part are the muscles, okay. Now we are going to study about the muscular tissue. When we talk about the muscular tissue, we have three types of muscular tissues which are present. Now there are three types of muscles inside our body, and those three types of muscles have different types of cellular arrangement, that is the tissue formation is different in all the three. Now what are those three we are going to study? Let us talk about the muscular tissue next. See, first type of tissue is the cardiac muscle tissue. As the name suggests and as the picture shows, this part is heart, okay. This heart is having its own muscles for its pumping and beating, that we call, that pumping action is known as beating of heart. Now how does that beating take place? If there are no muscles, how can the movement be coordinated? So for that we have heart muscles that are cardiac muscles, and they are under the involuntary control. Only heart takes care of how these muscles have to work, because they are self-excitatory, okay. Next is the skeletal muscles, these movements, this movement that I am able to do, that is because of the skeletal muscles, and you know I am taking care of the movements myself, my brain is taking care. So that particular movement which is under our conscious control is taken care by skeletal muscles, which are under voluntary control. So you see the skeletal muscles which are present. Then we have the smooth muscles. Now supposedly you are having cramps in your stomach, or there is the hunger pangs you are getting in your stomach. There are sounds which are created inside your gut. Those sounds are created by muscular contractions. Are they under your control? Supposedly you are sitting in a class very silently, and then there is stomach sound coming out of your body. That is quite awkward. You can't control it. So that non-controllable muscular movement is involuntary movement, and that is taken care by the smooth muscle tissue. Now over here what we have to see is, like we talked about the types of cells in all the tissues which we had discussed, we see over here that the cardiac muscle tissue has branched cells. The cells are known as, what are these cells? Basically these muscular cells are known as myofibrils. These cells are branched and they are joined to each other and they are multinucleated. Syncytial sort of condition is there. You can see striations present, stripe like arrangement in this. So those striations are nothing but the bands, the fibrils which are arranged in such a way, they are basically protein. Protein arrangement is such that it appears striped. Supposedly you are wearing a striped shirt. What you see, one stripe is dark, one is light, one is dark, one is light. So is seen in the muscles. Now, how does that stripe, that striation is present in your shirt, as I gave you the example. In case of muscles, that striation is brought about by the filaments which are present, and those filaments are made up of protein. Now supposedly you have to make a column like this and you have to show a few stripes being formed. What you would do, you would make a dark part, make a light part, make a dark part, light, keep something light, then make a dark part. This is how you make stripes. In the same way, our muscles which have to undergo contraction and are somehow in the voluntary control, or you can say that the contractions are to be very, very strong. Those contractions are taken care by these striations, and these striations are proteins, different proteins, and the arrangement gives it a striped appearance. As you can see in the case of cardiac muscles, there are striations and the muscle cells are branched. In this case, the muscle cells are not branched, they are like ribbon-like structures and there are many striations. The nuclei which are present inside each cell may vary from one to many, and in the case of smooth muscle tissue, we don't find striations, we don't find myofibrils long enough. What we find is spindle-shaped cells like this, pointed at both the ends. There would be one cell that is present, as you can see over here, and they are not under the voluntary control. So this is all about the muscular tissue that we have to understand, the different types of muscular tissues and where they are located.